Okay, so let's dive into this deep dive, right? We're looking at something you all sent our way, a YouTube video, right?
Right.
It's part of this series called When God Made Her, The Many Roles of a Woman.
Yeah.
And we're looking at specifically chapter 2.
Yeah, daughter first.
Daughter first, right?
It's a beautiful title, and it really sets the stage for some deep reflection, I think.
Yeah, and it, it's interesting because we've got this video. You watch it, and it's, really visually kind of warm, right? It's got this gentle music. It feels very contemplative. So it's it really does set that tone. But what we want to do is kind of, go beyond just those surface impressions.
Right.
Let's unpack what's really at the heart of it.
Do it.
So, where does the video itself begin its exploration?
Well, it starts with this really powerful statement right off the bat. It says, before she became anything else, right? She was a daughter.
Okay.
Not by choice, but by design. And this right here, this is the core, this is the foundation of everything the video wants to explore.
Interesting. So it's saying that this daughter role, like it's not accidental, it's like inherent.
Exactly. It precedes all those other roles that we often think of. The sister, the wife, the mother, the career woman, all of that. This is like the bedrock.
Okay, so let's unpack that a little bit, this whole like daughter first idea.
Yeah.
Because it's clearly positioning this as coming before everything else, right?
Absolutely. And there's this spiritual understanding woven into it. It suggests that it's intentional. It's almost like this foundation upon which everything else is built. All the other aspects of identity and how she experiences life, it all flows from this starting point.
So the video then goes on to talk about, learning through being loved, right?
Yeah.
And it makes this really bold statement. It says, to love well, right? She'd first have to be loved. To lead, she'd first have to follow. To give, she'd have to learn to receive.
And I think what's really powerful there is how it ties these fundamental human capacities,
Yeah.
The ability to love, the ability to lead, to be generous. It ties it all back to this initial experience of daughterhood. It's almost like saying you don't just arrive with these skills, they're nurtured, They're learned through that primary relationship with caregivers. And the video actually shows this beautiful imagery of a young girl with her parents. So it really brings that nurturing aspect to life.
Right, so it paints this picture, right, of those really formative years where those patterns get, kind of established. And then the video touches on something so crucial, this idea of needing foundational support. It talks about arms to hold her, a voice to speak identity over her, a home to shape her soul.
Yes, and I think that speaks to the core needs, right, for healthy development. You need that sense of physical security. You need that verbal affirmation. You need that stable, nurturing environment. And what's significant is that the video acknowledges it doesn't shy away from the reality that sometimes that's there, sometimes it's not. It doesn't try to create this idealistic picture of families because that's not always the case.
Yeah. No, it's real about it.
It's real.
And so, that kind of leads into this idea of God is this constant father figure.
Right.
It emphasizes that even when earthly parents, they might not always get it right, God remains that first father.
I love that. I think what's really profound there is, if we think about the wider implications, is that there's this unwavering support, this unconditional love that's always there. It's almost like it exists beyond the limitations of human relationships.
Yeah.
And the way that they phrase it, attributing these messages to God, like, you are mine, you are loved, you are not forgotten. These are presented as truths, regardless of, whether your earthly parents were perfect or not. It's like a foundation.
Wow. Yeah, those are powerful things to really kind of sit with. And so building on this, right?
Yeah.
The video starts to really outline specific lessons
Right.
that are learned within this daughter role.
Yeah.
Things like, how to trust, how to forgive, how to stand up, even when it hurt.
Yeah, and I think it's so interesting how they, these are all these crucial life skills, and it's almost like the video is saying that you learn them through the lived experience of being a daughter.
Yeah.
Navigating all the complexities of family, the good, the bad, the challenging.
Right.
And they even specifically mention some of the tougher aspects, like when family felt heavy.
Yeah.
When words cut deep and hugs weren't always warm.
Right.
Which I think really speaks to that point about, not every experience is perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's in those moments, right, those challenging moments where the video introduces this idea of God's presence, right? Of being protected in grace, truth, and unshakable identity. It's like this spiritual kind of security blanket that's there, even when things are rough.
Yeah. And it brings up this fascinating point about, where does our resilience come from? Where does our sense of self-worth come from? And I think what the video is suggesting is that this identity as a daughter of God, it provides this foundation of security that isn't dependent on, what other people think of you or what your circumstances are. It's just there.
So powerful. Now, the video makes a really interesting point. It says, being a daughter isn't just about receiving.
Right.
It talks about this shift to growing into strength, into courage, into the kind of love that keeps no record of wrongs.
It's almost like this turning point, It moves from that initial dependence that we all experience as children to highlighting the transformative power of this identity. Like it's saying that being loved and nurtured as a daughter, that actually gives you these internal resources. Yep. And you develop this capacity for this more mature, this more forgiving kind of love. And the video, visually, it shows these really powerful examples. It shows a daughter caring for her aging parents, supporting siblings, sharing laughter over old photos. It's beautiful.
It really brings it to life, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like you can see how that early experience of being loved kind of blossoms into this outward expression of caring.
Yeah, and the strengthening of character.
Right. And then, it takes it even further, right?
Yeah.
The video, it makes this very bold statement. It says, being a daughter is not just a season.
Right.
It's a calling.
That is huge.
Right. And it almost elevates it beyond just a biological connection, right?
Yeah.
Or family tie.
Yeah.
It brings in this element of purpose.
Right. There's this ongoing significance, there's a responsibility, there's an influence that extends beyond just, a phase of life. And they articulate it so well. They say, she brings healing to broken bloodlines.
Wow.
She honors even when it's hard. She rises above what was, right? To become what can be. And I think those are just such profound statements about, the impact that embracing this calling can have.
It really speaks to, breaking those negative cycles.
Yes.
And actively trying to shape a more positive future. And it's interesting, right? Because according to the video, this whole understanding of daughterhood, it actually teaches us something really deep about God.
It does. It's almost like it uses this lens, right, to show us something about his very nature.
Yeah.
And they conclude by saying that God uses this role to teach her who he is, a father who never leaves, who never breaks promises, who never runs out of love. And I just love that. It draws such a clean parallel between, the ideal of fatherly love and the unwavering nature of God.
It's beautiful.
And even the final image of the video is so powerful. You see this woman standing peacefully looking upward, and it's like, it embodies that sense of trust and connection.
So it brings everything full circle, right?
Right, back to that foundational relationship.
Yeah, but now with this whole deeper understanding of what it means.
Exactly. And the video wraps up by saying, before she became a sister, a wife, a mother, right? She was first his daughter. And he still calls her that. Even now. It's like no matter what else you become, that identity, it doesn't disappear. It's this constant.
Yeah.
It's a source of belonging, a source of inherent worth. And the final thought that it leaves us with is she's learning to live from that place.
Beautiful.
Of being loved, of being chosen, of being his. It encapsulates the whole message perfectly.
So beautifully put. So as we wrap up our deep dive here, into this chapter, it seems like the video is saying that daughter is really foundational. Like it's this ongoing aspect of who we are. It's not just, childhood. It's this relationship that's, shaped by this idea of divine love. And it's crucial, right?
Absolutely.
For learning how to love, how to trust, how to forgive, how to find that inner strength.
And for you, our listener, who wants to understand things deeply, but also quickly, we hope that this exploration has helped to illuminate the core message of this video.
Yeah, and it really does get you thinking, doesn't it? Because if we consider this idea that being a daughter is a calling, right? What might be one area, maybe within your family, maybe within a close-knit community you belong to, where you feel this kind of pull to bring healing or to honor something, even if it's difficult,
That's a really great question.
Something to ponder.
Something to ponder. And for those of you who found this discussion interesting, the video's closing screen actually encourages you to explore Chapter 3, Sisterhood. So there's more to come.
Yeah, sounds like there's a whole lot more to unpack.
Lots to unpack.
So thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Thanks for being here.
We look forward to the next exploration together.